I always thought I would be in commercial television. And it was about 1959, I think, that I thought, no, I want to be in what became public television.
As recently as 150 years ago, this vast and beautiful, expansive country...
Ron was in at the beginning of NET, which is by far the gem in public television as far as I'm concerned.
For one reason or another, I signed up for Television 101, and my two instructors were Jack McBride and Ron Hull.
Jack frequently was considered the brains behind the operation and the genius. He was the visionary. So using that metaphor, if he's the brains and the vision, Ron's the heart and the soul of the place.
He is very intuitive, very observant, understands human nature, can interact with whether it's a ranch hand or a CEO or a celebrity.
You can't not know Ron without getting the feeling that he's interested in you, who you are, and what you're doing.
People are fascinating. And you're around so many people that are smarter than you are, you learn something all the time.
His people skills are off the charts. We all try and watch and learn.
I had just graduated from San Diego State University, and one of my academic advisors suggested that I go to Nebraska because it's quite the operation within public broadcasting. And we looked at a sample reel of work that I'd done as a student. And he said, well, I can give you a job, but it's only for 1 year. That's all I can guarantee you. Ron wrote me a handwritten note that I have saved to this day at the end of that year saying, sometimes I make good decisions. I'm glad you're here. And it meant so much to me, so that's why I'm still here.
This triangular plot of buffalo grass is the gateway to Catherland.
Ron and I worked together on the Willa Cather Foundation board for many years, and I've also worked with Ron on Marty Sandoz and John Neihardt projects, and he's just a great person to know if you like Nebraska.
One of the factors that made me so satisfied with where I was working with Marty Sandoz in the late 50s, John Neihardt in the early 60s. I really was not interested in commercial television anymore. If you just read the 6th chapter, it is the best picture of what those hardy pioneers are.
He insisted that Nebraskans know their history.
His promotion of Nebraska culture and Nebraska history is without peer.
He has nourished all sorts of historical activities, whether it's the Willa Cather projects in Red Cloud, the Sandoz Center in Nebraska, the Neihardt Center, so that we would know our history. I don't think anybody else has done that. Yes, you can have history professors, but unless you're sitting in their classroom, you're not going to know it.
He is an omnivore of Nebraska culture.
He's been on the Hall of Fame Commission. He led the Lewis and Clark Commission. He's been on the Lincoln Symphony Board. He's been on the Humanities Board. He's been on the University of Nebraska Rep Theater Board.
He just always seemed involved. I don't know what other words to use to describe him.
Well, all of that turns me on and motivates me forward.
What Rotary concerns itself about is service above self and giving back to the community you serve. And Ron epitomizes this.
He's had a tremendous impact in terms of Nebraskans and their identity and their history, pride, sense of place, a special place.
Well, I think he's brought national fame to the Nebraska Educational Network with many of the shows that he's produced and many of the shows that he was the originator behind. And they were sold nationally and played all over the country on educational television. And I think a lot of people sit up today in their seats and say, oh, here's another favorite show that Nebraska produced. I want to watch that.
What he saw as value in public broadcasting isn't just the vapor that goes out in a single broadcast, but if we can capture that in a recording and if we can store it and keep it for posterity, that's important for people of the future to see. That's going to be his legacy, in my opinion.
everything's possible. If you bring the right spirit, attitude, work to it.